were sold and resold and resold and resold, and therefore they claim that it would be very difficult to obtain the original mortgage file.
Thank you. Gentleman's time has expired. I now yield to Congressman Lynch from Massachusetts. He's not here. I now yield to Mrs. Norton of D.C.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was daunted and amazed by Mr. Calabria's notion in the middle of a crisis, better to have no program than to take a program where we are essentially dealing with an not only unanticipated but unprecedented. Everybody knows we're learning as we go along because we've never done it before. So the notion of saying, well, so leave everybody out there as my friend on the other side to negotiate for themselves, you know, it has blown my mind. I have a question here about the second lien program because these are the people.
The gentlelady yield.
The gentlelady will not yield. She has only a few minutes. You had your time. I'm particularly concerned about those at very particular risk, and a program that may meet Mr. Calabria's notion of better not have it than have it because it hasn't done anything, although I do not buy his notion that you should just leave people out there on their own when even government can't figure out what to do. This notion about 50% of we know that 50% of the homes in foreclosure had a second lien on them, so now you really have trouble here. A year ago, Treasury announced, okay, we understand it in their learning curve, and they instituted a new component of HAMP to help homeowners with multiple liens on their property. Now, these figures need to be explained. Only 3 servicers have signed up. What kept that from happening? No second liens have been modified. That's a year into the program. That's beyond failure, beyond needing fixing, and may need to be totally rethought. Although I do not buy into the notion that, all right, throw up your hands and don't do anything. I want to ask Mr. Borofsky, Mr. DODARO, and Mr. Taylor in particular, first to get at the root cause. Why didn't this program get off the ground in the first place as a component of HAMP? And without such a program, is there any way to help these people who have second liens and may be in the greatest need of all? Mr. Borofsky, why don't we start with you and go to the 3 gentlemen I asked?
Sure, but I think that it is good news that in the last week they've signed up two additional.
What happened in the last week that somebody got religion there?
Well, we did provide a draft audit of our report about 2 weeks ago. So, although I think that's something that's been in the works, but your frustration, we share your frustration as we detail in our report. You know, in the original draft it was just 1, and it's good to see that they've signed up 3 of the biggest players in the market. But it has been a year since the details of the idea of modifying second loans, and it is such an important part of this program.
So was the lack of people signing up that kept it from getting off the ground? Was more needed to make that happen?
Perhaps. I mean, we have not yet audited the second lien program. It's something we wanted to see, let it get off the ground before we did so, but those are very good questions that need to be answered.
Mr. DODARO?
First of all, Treasury had not established yet a date for when they were going to start the program, and a lot of the program details aren't very clear yet. So it goes to the question of
after a year, they aren't very clear.
Well, that's the status of it, and that's why we think you know, the program hasn't got off and running. And it goes also to Congressman Ice's question. I mean, really, the second lien program, I think, needs to be established in addition to what they're doing, as well as dealing with negative equity, which is the hardest hit housing fund that they're just now starting to get off the ground in 5 states. So you need multiple just to deal with this problem, because all the homeowners aren't in the same situation.
Yeah, some of them are employed, for example, and have a second lien. Some are going down the drain quickly, but could be caught with the proper kind of
Right.
net?
And Treasury needs the programs to deal with the varying situations of the borrowers, so they need to get up and running. This is why we suggested they look at how many people on staff in order to carry out all these programs. And so, but the basic answer to your question is